Now that you hopefully understand what variables are, I will now make an example how to use these variables to our advantage. I have here an update rectangle button. Basically, this is exactly same as this before, that when you clicked here, this text changes. Similarly, when I click on this one, this text will change. However, there is one big difference. For this time, instead of using a predefined text as I used in the previous one, notice this president's name. This is simply the identifier name for this text, just like we had in previous example. Real difference, however, comes at the part when I am doing the text equals. Now you can see I have put text equals president. What is different from previous is that it is missing the commas. The reason for this is when you use commas, it tells the Hollywood to print out exactly what is reading between the commas, as you can see. But if we don't use commas, then it means to print out whatever the variable contains inside it. This variable could be, for example, x, and we could even define the x. If we say x is 1, then it means that x will be 1. I'll show you. As you can see, it became 1. Or if we decide x is 2. You can see now it is 2. This x could also be some text. For example, my text. Just always remember to put them inside commas. As you can see, it became my text. The reason why you need to use commas is because if you remove it, then this my text is not text anymore, but it is another variable, just like x is. However, since my text doesn't have any value, it is same as so-called nil. As you see, nothing happens when I try to click. Now, using this knowledge, I will make a variable called president. As you probably already noticed, there are also 3 other buttons with yes in them. Idea with these buttons is that when I click them, in addition, so them highlights the way I showed in tutorial 1, it will also run a piece of code. A very little piece of code. Here you can see president is George Bush in commas. This means that this president variable will now contain George Bush, the text George Bush inside it. This could as well be, for example, x. X is George Bush. However, to make it more human understandable, we use variable name president. If I call 2015 button, you can see president will receive word Barack Obama inside it. If I go 2025, we get president as Sarah Palin with a question mark. So what is happening in this program is that every time you click one of these buttons, it will define the president variable as having one of the preset names. This could be that x is 1, x is 2, x is 3. When you click on update button, it will change the text to include whatever is inside the president currently. By other words, it could also be that x is by clicking this, x is 1, by clicking this, x is 2, by clicking this, x is 3. And when I click here, then it will show the value of the x. In this case, it will show the value of the text. or rather it will change this text to contain the text that the variable president has. Let's see it now. As you see, all highlighted. Now let's click on Barack Obama. Then let's click here, click again, update. You can see it shows up push. If I click again, nothing similar happens because it is still having the president variable is still containing source push. Click on the file. We get this error question. As you have seen in this tutorial, let's make a little simple calculator. I am basically using the same things as I used in previous one. Here is first of all sum, which I have identified as summary text. These buttons here do basically the same thing as before. In the previous one, they were affecting the variable president. In this case, these are affecting the variables A and B. When I click here, A will become 1. If I click here, B will become 1. And similarly, A will become 2, A will become 3, B will become 2, B will become 3. What is the idea with this thing is that you can choose one of these three numbers and one of these three numbers, and then it will all the time keep calculating them. For example, if 1 and 3, then the sum will be 4 because 1 plus 3 is 4. Like if this, I am putting a piece of code that will be running independently. As you notice, in previous examples, we always had to do something like, for example, click this button here for the piece of code to be run, which in this case is telling A to be 1. But now I am making a piece of code that will be running constantly. Like if this, I have made this action here. To create these actions, you first need to choose the script, and then you need to choose new. And here you can choose action. At start, this action contains nothing, so you need to double click it. After this, you choose new. And here you get all the same as before when you were doing the hide objects and similarities. I am now moving back to the original action that I have already made. What is happening here is that first, because the result is A plus B. Here we are choosing the A, and here we choose the B. If we, for example, choose A as 1 and B as 2, then result is same as 1 plus 2, which means the result is 3. And that we will use the setLayer style command which we used before to change this text, which I have identified as summary text. And the text that will appear will be same as the result. Notice I am not using plus this time because I am using this variable. And for example 1 plus 2's case, it will be 3. Now, since it is this time on here in script, this means that after all these things have happened, this will happen. This piece of code will be run. However, in normal state it will be run only once. But you can choose it run several times. You can see it put action events. If you put here, for example, 5, then it will run through the code 5 times. If you put 0, however, it means it will keep running forever, which is what we are preferring to do. However, there is still one problem. If we run it like this, the program will get stuck. It will get stuck when it gets to this action phase. It will never get this far. Because the reason is that it keeps looping and looping and looping forever. But to avoid this, we can click on Run Action Events and see if it goes. This means that this will be run at the same time as everything else on this page is run. So what effectively now happens is, instead of having an update button like before, piece of code will be continuously executed, checking if any of these values have changed. Or actually, it is not even looking if they are changed. It will just keep changing the text to contain the sum of these two. So if 1 plus 1 is chosen, then it will keep displaying 2 and it will keep changing the text to 2 again and again. The user of course won't see it, that even the text changes thousands of times. The user won't notice it because it is just changing from number 2 to number 2. So from user point of view, nothing happens. Now let's see how this works. As you can see, since A and B is not defined at this point, they are both nothing. When nothing is used in calculation, so it is same as 0. So nothing plus nothing equals 0, which is right. Now I will click this, and you can see it says to 1. If I click this, now it's 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. 3 plus 3 is 6. 1 plus 3 is 4. This way we can continue forever and ever. Just keep in mind that when you want a code that keeps running background, checking something all the time, you have to use both run action events asynchronously as well as loop action events with synchronously. The idea is that normally when you run code in this state, it runs the code once. After that, it jumps to the next one. It jumps to the next one. This was all for the tutorial. And don't forget to save your work.